Hi everybody, and welcome. We're going to do something a little different. Got my mad scientist attitude going on today, and we're going to experiment with this kind of unusual image here taken from the inside of a hotel. And we're going to actually composite some things, and we're going to mess with perspective. So let's get started. In this image, we've got some strange angles going on, but on these walls going up the stairs, we're going to put a couple of images in there. So let's get to the first image. This image just happens to be from one of the streets in Chicago. So I don't need this rather blasé wall in there. So I need to cut this out, and the trash cans really aren't adding any bliss to the image either. So let's crop a few things out. Let's just press the letter C as in crop, and let's go ahead and move these brackets into the wall. We'll keep a little bit of the street in there, and we can bring this down a bit. So let's double click in there, and that's the way our image looks now. A couple of things we need to take into consideration is the size and color, and that's pretty well adjusted. The overall look of the image it's okay for a side panel and another image, I guess. We need to go over here and look at image size. This is our kind of our base image, and it's 20 by 13. So we need to cancel this. The height is 13 inches, so we need to go over here to this one. How tall is this one? So we go to image size, and it's 12 inches wide and 18 tall. So let's switch this down to 13 and click OK. And let's do the famous Control-Alt-Paste type thing. Let's do Control A, Command A on a Mac, which selects it all. Then we do a Control C or Command C on a Mac, which copies it to the computer's digital workspace, the digital clipboard, so to speak. So let's go back to the other image, and we can just do a Control V to paste it right in here, which shows you, yeah, that's pretty much the same height. It's going to be a little tall to put on a side panel, but that's okay. We don't really want the image pasted on here right now, so I'm going to do a Control Z just to get rid of that real quick. What I want to do instead is put it inside of another part of one of the filters actually. So let's just turn that on. What I need to do is I always like to make a copy of my background layer, so it gives me some room for mistakes, so to speak. And I'm going to create a blank layer. Just click on the new layer icon down there, and we get this layer. So I'm going to go to Filter, down to Vanishing Point. Vanishing Point, let me make this window a little bit bigger. We need all the real estate we can get. We need to basically consider this our canvas. This is where we want the other image to be, so we need to make a grid on this side. I'm going to go ahead and just click a general grid for now. So I'm just going to click here, click here, here, and here. Now that's going to change because I'm going to do a Command on a Mac minus, so I can actually stretch this thing out. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that down, this up, so I can line it up with the lines, so to speak. Let's get it up there, and we're going to go try to match the line going down. So we just click and drag until we get it. Let's click here to see where that line is. It's a little bit, this looks good here, but this is a little off down here. So I click back on it, and I can drag that just a little bit that way. Click in here again. That looks good. Our angles going off there are good. The angles going down here are fine. The next thing to do is a Control V. This is where we're going to paste the image. So Control V is in victory. The image is pasted in there, and then we just click and drag it into that box, and lo and behold, we can move it around to where we like it best. Let go, click OK, and there's the image on that wall. Now we can still move it a little bit if we want to, but I kind of like it where it was. We can now experiment with the blend modes. So we can go right here to overlay, and it actually looks like it's into that wall, right? So we can still, move it around, make it, wherever we think it fits well. That's where we'll put it. Okay. Let's think in terms of using an image over here. Let's find another one. So I'm going to go to my bridge, and let's see. How about this image? Let's double click it, and let's see how big it is. So image size, and it's 21. So that's way too big. So let's just make it like a 10. Click OK, and we're going to do a Control A, Control C, go back to our original image. Again, I'm going to create a new layer that allows us to control these other images. And again, we're going to go to the Vanishing Point, and I'm going to hit backspace. And we're going to click a grid over here. So this time I'm going to make it smaller to start. So let's just click here one time, and let's click up here, let's say, and bring it down, and click here. And obviously this is a bit exaggerated. Let's click over here so we can see what we've got. That's away from this area, so click here, drag that over, click here. That looks much better. All right, it's time. Oh, right here, that's a little off. Let's click that and go in a little. Click here. That's much better. Okay. We can also just make that go down the edge. Click here. Go down the edge of these steps, so we can, it's pretty much however you want to line it up. I'm pretty close there. Let me move it up just a little bit more. Now I'm shifting the whole thing. We don't want to do that. There we go. Now we're off a little bit going back. It's really not, just something you got to get used to a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to say we're good shape, and we're going to do the Control V. V as in victory. And there's our image, and we're just going to move it in there, and it pops right around that area for us. And that looks pretty good right there. It completed down here. Click OK. And now that image is laid in there, and we'll also change the blend mode to overlay. And so you have the reflection plane in there. You can also leave it on normal and drop the opacity, whichever makes you happy. You also have, I'm going to go back to 100%. There are a lot of other blend modes that you can experiment with. So you can look and see what each one of these does. Some of them become very, very interesting. That's not one of them, But I'm not going to go through all these either. It's up to you to click on these and see which ones work the best. That's not bad. And you can certainly make a copy of that. Let's see the difference that it makes. And you can also change the blend mode of this one to make it, darker, however you want it. And again, we can also change the opacity to make it blend a little bit. We want it to look very similar to the other side, so we can also drop the opacity of it a little bit to blend in. So that's the one way you can incorporate things into this image. We certainly can do a lot with any image that we choose, but this vanishing point can be a very cool thing. And let me show you one other example. I'm going to bring up this image, and we're going to this time experiment with some text. So I'm going to go, I can press the letter T or click on it over here, and I'm just going to make a box, click and drag to make a box, and type the, hit enter, McLaughlin, hit enter, house. And you can name your building whatever your name is, house. I'm going to change the color to white, so I'll go up here to the color picker and click up here, brings in a pure white. And the size isn't bad. Remember, we can click, let me click right on the double T's here, and I can make that text much larger, much smaller, so we can, control it quite easily. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, I think, and press the move tool or the checkbox up here, either one will do the same thing. Now I want to put this down here on the front of this building to make it look like my hotel or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I need to rasterize this text. Right now it's a vector graphic, which means we can alter it all we want to, and it's going to still be a pristine looking text. But if we right click on it and rasterize it, it's now just like the image. It's now a raster graphic, and we all know that a raster graphic, as we make it larger or smaller, it does lose some of its quality. So we don't rasterize something until we just have to. Okay, let's add a little something to this text. I'm going to do a control space bar and click to make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. That's command space bar on a Macintosh. And I'm going to click on the FX button, and I'm going to go to stroke. And I'm just going to add maybe, let's see what 5 does on there. Yeah, I like a nice thick stroke. So that's going to help it stand out when we put it on the building. Now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to do a Control J to make an exact copy of that text. And I'm going to turn on my move tool. And what I'm going to do is use my arrow keys, and this top layer, I'm going to move it up a little bit and over a little bit. So I did a couple up and a couple left. And I can bring it down maybe one more. We want a little 3D effect, and this gives it to us. So what I'm going to do now is Control E. Made the lines a little harsher. That's not going to hurt. We could have used maybe a 3-stroke or a 2-stroke on there, and it wouldn't be quite as pronounced, but it's still going to help it stand out on the building. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a Control A to select that everything on that layer, a Control C to copy it, and now we're going to turn this off. We're going to make a brand new layer, click on the new layer icon, and this is where we're going to put the text. I'm going to do a Control-0 to get the screen back to a nice size. I'm going to do a Control-D to turn off the marching ants. And now I'm going to go to Filter, Vanishing Point. And what I need to do is I want to put the McLaughlin house right down here on the front of this building. So I'm going to click here and just drag out a box. Go down here. We want this to go straight across. We want this to go straight up. Watch the angles of the building. And let's just click that to the edge of the windows there so we can make sure we're lined up. So we're lined up pretty good, except on this building. Let's click here. Nope, that's actually pretty good shape there too. So let's do the Control-V as in victory to paste our text in. There it is. So we just bring it over to that box and it immediately changed the perspective on it. Let's just put it right there and we'll click OK. And let's zoom in a little bit. So Control spacebar, Command spacebar on a Mac a couple of times. And we're going to click on the FX, drop shadow. Let's move this out of the way so we can actually see the drop shadow. And let's do a size on that. And let's change the distance and just see if we can see that. We can drop the opacity a little bit. We don't want the size to be too awful big. We just want it to look like it's standing off of that off that building just a little bit, cause some separation. So now when we zoom back out, Control-0, you see the McLaughlin house is on there, and I can also click and drag and bring it down. So we can change the perspective on text, on images. I hope you play around with this and see for yourself how cool this can be. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.